Hey Motor Warriors, I've been asked to show people a little bit about how to play a guitar. So here's how you play a guitar. Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Right after this, I will show you how to play a little bit on the other side of the guitar.
Hey Motor Warriors, instead of doing my regular intro, I thought I'd explain this video a little bit. I am not a guitar teacher. I have never taken a formal guitar lesson. I know some of you are going to say, and it shows. But I tried to when I was really young, I don't know, like 12, 13, something like that. And I went in to the community center one time, or the rec center, whatever y'all want to call it. And there was supposed to be a guy that was well experienced and was going to teach us all, you know, basic guitar stuff. There was probably 12 people that went into the room, and I asked him what kind of stuff, you know, we'd be able to learn in the class. And he said, well, let me hear you play and I'll give you an idea of what I can do to help you improve. And so I started just playing some, you know, G, A, D, C, you know, type flat pick and stuff, like bluegrassy type stuff. And the guy said, okay, he said, to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to be able to help you because you can actually play better than I do. And I was like 12 or 13, and I thought, well, so much for that. So I thanked him for his time and left. Well, it was like a year, 2 years later, something like that. And the community center said that they had someone else that was going to come that was really well experienced and well known and you know, kind of like a legend in the music industry. And I thought, well, that's cool. So I went and was going to take lessons because it was free, man. And it's like, you know, I went there and started talking to the guy, and there was probably about the same size class, maybe a dozen young people like me in there. And I asked the guy what kind of music we'd be playing, and he said, well, here's an example of one of the songs I wrote. And he started playing this kind of obscure Beatles song that I think was on the Rubber Soul album. And it was, you know, she came in through the bathroom window. And on the credits of that song, it said Lennon and McCartney. And this guy starts singing that song, trying to tell me, or tell us, the class, that he wrote it. And I said something to him that's a Beatles song. You know, their names, their credits are on the song itself. He said that he actually wrote the song back in East Tennessee, but that Lennon and McCartney stole it from them. And he was looking at the other people nodding his head like, you know, yep, that's what happened. And they're kind of like, wow, you know, the Beatles are ripping you off. You know, that was the look on their faces. And I said, wait a minute, sir. You're trying to tell me that John Lennon and Paul McCartney flew from England to not just America, but Tennessee. And not just Tennessee, but Johnson City. And that they came all the way here to steal your song. And the guy kind of looked bewildered, and he said, well, yeah, that was pretty much how it went. And I was like, man, I can't learn anything. You may be good, I don't know, but I can't learn from a liar. And I got up and walked out, and I turned around, and the people behind me were following out too. And I'm like, what a moron. You know, you don't need to lie about your abilities and stuff. I mean, if you're a good guitar player and you've never had a lesson, so what? You know, some of the finest musicians never really took lessons. There's a lot of some of the world's best guitar players and whatever that can't even read music or don't know anything about keys or scales. They can just hear it and play it. You know, they just have the ear for it. So, you know. So anyway, that was my last attempt at ever taking a formal guitar lesson. Had I taken lessons from somebody who really knew what they were talking about and what they were doing, you know, I'd probably be a pretty decent guitar player.
The first thing I want to say about guitar is that you can do it. You can learn how to play the guitar. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. There's time where you're going to be aggravated, but if you just stick with it, you'll get her done. Okay, so I'm going to just show you some basic chords to get you started. And if you don't know that this is E, A, D, G, B, E, if you don't know that, let me know those things and I can go back over that stuff. If you don't know that between the third and fourth note of any key and the seventh and eighth note there's a half a step, otherwise everything else is a whole step. If you don't know that, let me know, and I'll kind of cover that on a video too. But right now I'm assuming you know how to do that stuff, and you know how to tune your guitar. There's different ways to tune your guitar. There's different ways to tune a guitar. So if you need help with that, leave it in the comments. Maybe I'll do a video on that if I get enough requests. But I'm not a guitar teacher, as I said in that little intro part. But a few basic chords. These are called open face chords. There's different ways to play these chords. You can play a G here, you can play a G here, and so on. There's different ways. But I'm showing you the open face chords because they'll be easier for you just starting out. Now this is a G chord. Now if you look real close at my fingers here, you can see that my birdie finger is going on the 3rd fret of my E string. My nose picker is, my pointer finger is going on the 2nd fret of my A string, and then I'm leaving all the other ones alone except for this high E, which my little pinky, the one you use to get them boogers that are real hard to get back in there, yeah, you use that one there, okay? And then this is what it should sound like. So you're going to be here, there, and down here. That's a G chord. Before you go on to another chord, you're going to want to make sure that it's clean. If it's sounding like this, you don't want to go on to the next chord, okay? You want them to be clean so that when you play it, it sounds like that, not, okay? So that's a G chord. Now, this is a C chord, and if you can see where my fingers are pointing, my little ring finger going on the 3rd fret of the A string, my birdie finger is going on the 2nd fret of the D string. That's a C chord. But see what you got there? So you got here, here, and down there. You see it? I hope you can. Okay. So again, if it sounds like this, don't go to the next chord. Make sure you can do this nice and clean. So you want to be like this. Nice and clean, back and forth. Now the next chord that's real common in like all kinds of music is a D chord. And the open face D chord sounds like that, and here's what it looks like, okay? So you take, on the G string, you take your pointer finger, put it on the 2nd fret. Your ring finger goes on the 3rd fret of your B string, and then your birdie finger is going on the 2nd fret of the high E, okay? That's a D, okay? So can you see that? See how I'm doing that? Okay? That's a D. Now, another chord that's real common is the A chord. Now there's different ways to play all of these chords, like I said. Some people play A like this, some people play it like this, some play it like that, okay? Just depending on what you're doing with it, okay? The most common and simplest way for y'all is this. This is all on the 2nd fret. Your D, your G, and your B, okay? That's your A, okay? Okay, see how I've got that? Okay, and then I'll show you one more chord, and that's an E chord, okay? Now an E minor is, you just take the same chord but you lift off your finger here. You hear that difference? Okay, so this is an E, and if you don't use your finger, your pointer finger, it's an E minor, okay? But we'll show you an E, okay? So if you can see where my fingers are going on this one, your birdie finger, 2nd fret of your A string, and then your ring finger on your 2nd fret of your D string, and then on your G string you're using your pointer finger on the 1st fret. Alright? Again, if it sounds like this, don't advance. Wait until it sounds like that. So before you go anywhere else on these, you want to be able to play them clean. Like that. Okay, you see that? Okay. Now, like I said, there's different ways to play these chords. On an E, I play it different ways. Like if I'm going to be doing something with a little more of a a bluesy type sound, I'll play it like this so that my pinky is loose, right? So I can do stuff like this. Like that, okay? That was a B7. I didn't show you that. That's another chord for another time. But if I'm playing E and I know I'm going to go up the neck, then what I'll do is I'll play it this way. So instead of going like this so my pinky's free, I'll play it like this so that my pointer finger's free, so that if I move up, so if I'm moving up, then I want that finger, I want my pointer finger free so I can bar these as I go up. Okay? So, once you get where you can play those chords nice and clean, then practice, instead of just going straight down, like that, instead of doing it like that, try and go down and up. So, down, up, and then go to the next one, up, go to the next one, up, and then up, down, up, okay? If you notice, I'm not letting it go. I'm stopping it because I'm using what's called the palm heel. I'm kind of like deadening the sounds. I'm going, okay? That'll be something as you progress, you'll start experimenting with that too. So instead of going, you're gonna start going like this. So it'll get a little deadened. You'll deaden it a little bit, okay? But you'll practice your going down and up. So, and then you might want to experiment and go like down, down, up. Go. And then when you can do that nice and clear, and again, this is going to take you time. I'm just doing this because I don't want to do a gazillion videos on guitar, because I'm not a guitar teacher, okay? But after you get that down, then you'll want to progress to this and change it up. Where instead of going down, down, up, you might want to go down, up, up. It gives it a little bit different sound. Oops, kind of messed that out. I did down, down, up on that last one. But you can hear the difference between them, okay? Can you hear that? It's a subtle difference, but it's there. You can hear the difference. Well, then you may want to start, after you get that down, you may want to start practicing using fingers that you're not using, or hammering on. A hammer-on is when you hit the string and then slam your finger down on it. So this would be a hammer-on. Okay, that's a hammer-on. And then what we call a pull-off is where you hit the string and then you take your finger off the string. Now, generally you don't want to go and just lift it, because it doesn't give a very prominent pop. It depends on what you're playing. But what I do a lot of times when I do a pull-off is I hit the string and then I dig in and kind of pinch it, so if you can see that, and then pop it. Because even if I don't pick the string, see what it's doing? So instead of going, which just sounds like you're playing sloppy and lifting your finger too early, you want to exaggerate, pick, pull it off, pull it tight, and make it snap out from under your finger. Okay, that's called a pull-off. But if you can see here on this G, I'm not using my ring finger, okay? And I've got these strings here that are just begging to be picked, right? So what we can do is we can practice doing stuff like this. See what I'm doing? See how I'm going here and then here, here and here, 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 here. That's what I'm doing. And you can do the same with your C chord. and just experiment with what it sounds like. So you can move your finger around and see what you get, okay? Okay, and same with D. You can do D, practice putting your pinky down here, and then just walk it up. Use that same pattern on a D, and just slide it up. Like that, okay? And then add a little bit of different kind of rhythm, up and down, like. And you can practice doing stuff like that too. But the G chord, C, D, A, and even the E, those chords are really, really common, and you don't have to always play them in that order. I mean, you can play, I don't know, D, A, E, G, like that. You know, just an example of a song that's played with those basic chords. I haven't played this in a long time. This used to be my anthem before I became a Christian. But anyway, it's, see if I can remember it. People say I'm no good, crazy as a moon, 'cause I get stoned in the morning, kinda like my old blue tick hound, I can lay around in the shade. I ain't got no money, but I damn sure got it made. Well, I ain't asking nobody for nothing. Oops, if I can't get it on my own. Anyway, you get the idea. All that is D, G, and A. That's it. Okay, and you just learned those chords, right? Then there's oh, I haven't sang this song in a long time either. I'll probably mess it up also, but another one that'll just use those basic chords too. Yeah, see how I'm doing that hammer on pull off? Okay. They call it that good old Mountain Dew. Them that refuse it are food. Just up my mug if you fill up my jug with that good old Mountain Dew. My brother Bill's got a still on the hill where he runs off a drop or two. Them buzzards in the sky that get so drunk they can't fly, smelling good old Mountain Dew. All that good old Mountain Dew. Yes, I do. Okay. You know, like that. That's just G, C, D. Okay. Maybe sometime I'll play one of the songs that I wrote that's just basic chords like that. Okay. But so that should get you started. If you want to learn more, or if you have other questions about how to tune your guitar, there's different ways to tune a guitar. There's drop D and a whole bunch of different ways you can tune your guitar. There's different ways, like I said, different ways to play chords. And if you don't know about half steps between the third and fourth and the seventh and eighth and everything else is the whole step, let me know. I'll explain all that. I know that a lot of people will say stuff like, oh, it's E on, you know, play E on the third, you know, third fret. Well, it's not an E on the third fret, okay, because this is E, F, F sharp or G flat if you're going back, okay, and then G. So if I play this E shape, but I'm playing it on the third fret and I'm barring that, it is not an E, it's G, okay. It's the same pattern, but I'm barring it and it's to a G, okay. and then A, and so on. If you want to learn other stuff, a little more bluesy stuff like that kind of stuff, let me know. I'll show you some of that. If you want to learn about how to play like a pentatonic in A or something like that, where you're going that's like the first step. It'll go up, and I'm not going to do all that because it's not what this video is about. But if you want to learn more about that, let me know, and if I get enough requests, I'll do it. But that's, I think in my intro, I think that I did something along those lines with that, where it's like something like that. I forget what I actually did, but anything you need to know, I hope that helps. This video is probably getting too long. What I'd recommend too is that when you're not with your guitar or whatever, you can practice the patterns. Like, this is how a G chord is formed, right? So start practicing getting your hands like that. Okay, this is how a C chord is formed. Start practicing getting your fingers like that. This is how a D chord is formed. Start getting your fingers to go like that. A, an E, or pull it off and then having a minor. Start practicing that. If everybody's sleeping and you're not sleepy and you want to practice your guitar, but you don't want to bother anybody, don't strum the strings. Just put your fingers on here and practice doing that. Okay? You're not going to bother anybody, but you're going to get your fingers used to going where they need to be. Now, speaking of fingers, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs up, because if you give me a thumbs up, I want to give you a finger. Alright, thanks for watching, y'all. Have a good one. And I want you to be good. And if you can't be good, don't get caught. Bye for now.